What's happening, humans? It's another good day for GTA. So, I see a lot of you are struggling to get the F1 wheels off your F1 cars right now and to put them onto other cars that you want to. So, in this video, I will be basically showing you what you need to do to get F1 wheels off your F1 car and onto other vehicles. If you're familiar with this technique, as you should be, you will see that I have just glitched out the rat truck in the background. If you need to know how to glitch out the rat truck for the full tutorial, there is a link in the description below. What I am showing you now is the steps needed simply to take the F1 wheels off your F1 car and to place them onto other vehicles. As you can see, all of these vehicles in here, both large ones and small, I have already put F1 vehicles onto them, F1 wheels onto them, and I did that by using the method that I'm about to show you right now. It's worth filling up your arena, all levels, with all the cars you want to do, because once you are glitched out, you can do every car on every level just by using the blue circle and bringing them up to the workshop level and then taking them into the workshop. As you can see, I've done everything in here from arena vehicles, the Zaba, the Everon truck, Deluxo, and a whole heap of other vehicles already. So, when you have the rat truck glitched out, you want to leave it there in the workshop and come out. And I like to use the Cerberus for the next step, although it is not necessary. You can actually do this with cars, other big trucks, but the Cerberus for me, it just seems to work. So, as you see, when you bring it out, it will push the rat truck out of the way. That is because the rat truck did not know it was in the workshop, it thought it was in a parking space. With this glitch, every time you actually bring another vehicle now into the workshop, it will get locked into place on the spot and it will not be able to move. So just jump back into the rat truck and hit left D-pad to return this one to storage. Then you can make your way over to the F1 car that you would like to take the modifications off. So, as my Cerberus truck already had red F1 wheels on it, I better get the F1 car which has the gold F1 wheels, so you can actually see a difference when we get this merge done. So, jump in your F1 car, hit right D-pad to take this one into the workshop, and you will see that it will come along and slide underneath the Cerberus. Now, because my rat truck at the beginning actually got pushed out from underneath this truck, as you can see now, we've got the front wheels touching on the ground, which means we are not going to be able to teleport into this vehicle. We are simply going to open the door and get into it the normal way. So, we're going to need to return this one to storage. And then once returned to storage, we are simply going to hit right D-pad and bring this one straight back into the workshop. Now, because the F1 car is already sitting so low to the ground, chances are we will not be able to teleport into this one either. But we might as well give it a go because it will save us hassle if we can. So you can go ahead and jump out of the truck and then you can get into the F1 car. No doubt you will teleport into it like so. Now, just go onto the mod menu, highlight the options. You can repair it if the option is there. And then you can get back out of this one, and we just need to see now if it's possible to teleport into this truck. Now, as you can see, my truck is still too low down, which means I'm simply opening up the door. That means we're going to need to reset this truck. So, what we're going to need to do now is actually get back into the F1 car. And you can hit left D-pad to choose to return this one to storage. Now, what we will need to do is to bring in a car in place of the F1 car, and it needs to be something that is a little bit bigger, so, you know, a standard sort of size car. Okay, I decided to use the rat truck just to give us a little bit extra clearance. That is fine. So, when you take in the rat truck, it will also squeeze underneath this truck, but it will not be squished down into such a small space as the F1 car was. So, once we've got the rat truck underneath, we can exit the rat truck. And now we need to jump into the Cerberus, and we're going to return that one to storage. And then once returned to storage, we are simply going to bring it straight back into the workshop. Now, this time that rat truck, like I said, is locked into position and cannot move. So now this truck will be placed actually on top and level. Alright, well, mostly level anyway. So now we can jump out of that one, and we need to get back into our rat truck, and then we are simply going to return the rat truck, and then we need to jump back into the F1 car with the mods that we want to transfer, and we're simply going to bring that F1 car back into the workshop. I already have F1 wheels on my truck, the large red ones, so I need to use my F1 car with the gold wheels now, so you can actually see the colour difference when I make this merge. So jump in the F1 car you are using and take this one into the workshop. Again, this will slide underneath the Cerberus truck, only this time we will have a bit more clearance. As you can see, the truck is high in the air now, so teleporting into this truck should be easy. So just highlight something on the mechanics menu before you exit the F1 car to make sure the modifications can transfer. And if you get stuck in your F1 car underneath the truck, just re-enter it, and then as soon as you hit Y to exit it, just start pushing the stick to run, and you should force your way out from underneath like I just did. So now we need to test our teleport sweet spot. So I like to stand generally in line with the door, and just by hitting Y or triangle, you should see your character just teleport straight into this truck, no climbing in. And when I hit it again, I climb straight back out, so we have got a good spot. So now use the Simeon or Gerald job invite method, which we've used a million times before. If you don't know how, links below, guys. And once we have heard the phone blip over that menu, we are simply going to close the pause menu, and then very quickly we need to spam Y and left D-pad at basically the same time, and hopefully you will get some sort of cutscene, probably not quite as chaotic as that one. But when you quit out of a job when it loads, if you caught the timing, you will now be in your parking area with the newly merged truck. If you missed the timing, simply do the same trick with a Simeon or Gerald job invite and just repeat that process, closing that pause menu after the phone blip and hitting Y and left D-pad together, giving them a bit of a spam until you catch the timing and send this one back to the parking area with its new modifications. So now we have got the modifications onto the truck. Now we need to actually save these, and that is of course done by changing one thing inside the workshop to make these new changes save. So when you bring the truck back in, it will again sit on top of the F1 car. That will set the new height that the truck will actually sit at. So we can teleport into the F1 car, and obviously we need to take this one out the workshop. And now we're going to bring in a car which we want to put F1 wheels onto. So that's more than halfway done, guys. The next step is the easiest one. And messing around with that Cerberus truck and getting the vehicles underneath it to set its height correctly is, you know, the more difficult step. All we are doing now is quite easy, just finishing off these cars. So from this point on, the process should be quick. So I'm going to put new F1 on the Dinker Jester race car. So jump in the car, hit right D-pad to bring it into the workshop. And again, you will see this one slide underneath the truck and stack into position. Oh, okay, actually, I see a lot of you saying that it is impossible to put F1 wheels onto trucks because they're too big. You can do it to cars, but not trucks. So instead of me showing you on a car, let me show you doing it on a truck instead. So as you can see, the Corinne Everon, I've already actually modded this one. I've already put the unselected red F1 wheels onto it. But obviously, that's no good right now. We're going to change this up for the unselected gold wheels instead. So bring your car or truck into the workshop and it will stack underneath the Cerberus like so. So now we need to jump into the big truck which has the modifications we want to take. We will repair it if the option is there. If there's no option to repair it, simply flick through the mechanics menu for a few seconds before backing out. Now you need to stand at the side of the Everon, normally about in line with the door, and just test your teleport sweet spot by hitting Y or triangle 2 or 3 times, and just make sure you teleport in and out very quickly without any hesitations. Once you're confident, do the method with a Gerald or Simeon job invite. You open the text so you can read the details, hold down the pause button, release and hit A. You should hear the phone blip as the pause menu opens in the background. If you did, then you simply need to close the pause menu and very quickly spam Y and left D-pad together to try and get this to make the merge. So I missed the job timing coming out of that invite. I did not get the merge to carry over. So we're going to do the same thing again with a Simeon or Gerald job invite. And once we hit that phone blip over the pause menu, we're going to close that menu and quickly spam Y and left D-pad together. And hopefully this time we should get the change. Okay, 2 misses, guys. That's not a bad thing. Don't worry. Just keep on going. So 3rd time is a charm. Repeat the process with the job invite from Simeon or Gerald. And what I actually like to do is hold the pause button down probably for 3 or 4 seconds before I release it and do the spam on Y and left D-pad. I'm not sure why, but actually holding it down for 3 or 4 seconds actually just seems to create a small amount of lag, and then you can hit the timing a little bit easier than if you just close the menu very quickly. Okay guys, this one is being a little awkward. Obviously I could have cut this out and just made it look perfectly smooth like it happens first time every time, but that is not realistic. A lot of you are going to struggle with this same bit here, so I'm going to keep it real with you guys. This is sometimes how it goes. So this time I'm going to wait a few seconds before I hold down the pause button, and once I hold it down, I'm actually going to hold it down for 3 or 4 seconds, and there, if you got a glimpse of that, as I released it, I spammed Y and left D-pad, and we got a glimpse of the merged car before the job loads up. When the job lobby loads up, simply back out, and you will be back in your workshop with the now modified car. And this has now got the F1 wheels we just transferred onto it. Now, for some reason, the rat truck which we used at the beginning, if you take that back into the workshop, it seems to be the best vehicle for actually messing this glitch up and making you fall through the map. Now at this point you could literally go through all your cars and you probably would not have a problem. But when you bring that rat truck back into the workshop and decide to mod it like I have done a number of times, this is often where the trouble comes in. So I'm going to jump into the Cerberus truck again so we can take the modifications off the big truck and put them onto the rat truck. So once I got in the truck and I highlight on the modification menu, or I repair the truck if possible, I want to jump back out, and then I'm going to find the teleport sweet spot which makes me teleport into this rat truck. So get yourselves lined up at the side of the rat truck, hit Y or triangle, and just make sure you are teleporting straight into this vehicle the way that you would like. Okay, and when you've done that a few times, you are good to go with your Simeon or Job Gerald invite method. If you're still unfamiliar with this, guys, then there is a full tutorial with the full setup in it below. But if you're not familiar with that, you're probably going to struggle with this because this glitch easily scores a 7 or 8 out of 10 for difficulty. The previous merge was probably only a 3 or 4 of difficulty, and the method before that, simply knocking over the faggot and using start and left D-pad, guys, that wasn't even a 1 out of 10. That was the easiest glitch we've had in a long time. Guys, I would recommend you do all the cars in your arena, but do not actually mess around with this rat truck until you have finished doing your cars. This is the one we used to glitch out, and for some reason it seems to bring its own problems. Now, as you can see, I've transferred to it, and boom, as I brought it back in and I went to make some changes on it, it literally dumped me through the map. I'm now falling upwards to Mount Chiliad, and yes, there we go, back on this goddamn mountain for about the 35th time. Okay guys, all the info you need to transfer your F1 cars is right there for you. I'm just going to hang around up here for a minute and wait for that bastard in the black truck that hits me every time I spawn up here. Okay guys, all the info you need to get your F1 wheels off of your F1 car onto another vehicle and then to distribute them to all the cars you want is right here in this video. It's actually really simple. I'll just leave a bit of footage here of me doing it to some other vehicles just so you can see the process if you need to. I think I do another 2 cars in this clip at the end, so yeah, if there's anything you missed guys, you just need a visual cue, feel free to watch to the end so you know what you're doing. Okay guys, hopefully that's everything you need to actually get through this. Hopefully that was easy to follow. Don't forget to like, subscribe, all that good stuff, and as always, take it easy humans.